Welcome to our journey through time, as we explore the captivating history of Saudi Arabia. The Arabian Peninsula has been home to human civilizations for thousands of years, with evidence of settlements dating back to the prehistoric era. These early inhabitants faced the harsh desert climate, developing remarkable skills to survive in one of the world's most challenging environments. The region's strategic location between Africa and Asia made it a natural crossroads for trade, connecting distant lands through ancient caravan routes that traversed the vast desert expanses. These routes would eventually develop into the famous incense and spice trails, bringing wealth and cultural exchange to the communities that controlled them. The Arabian Peninsula's unique geography, with its vast deserts and scattered oases, shaped the development of distinct cultural practices and social structures that continue to influence Saudi society today. Long before the modern kingdom emerged, the land that would become Saudi Arabia played a crucial role in human history. In the 7th century CE, the Arabian Peninsula witnessed the birth of Islam, a momentous event that would forever change the course of world history. The Prophet Muhammad was born in Mecca around 570 CE, and the revelation of the Quran began in 610 CE, establishing the foundations of a new faith that would spread across continents. The cities of Mecca and Medina quickly became the spiritual epicenter of the Muslim world, drawing pilgrims from increasingly distant regions as Islam expanded. These holy cities continue to hold immense significance for Muslims worldwide, with millions performing the Hajj pilgrimage annually. The early Islamic caliphates that followed Muhammad's death saw Arabian influence extend across North Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Europe, creating one of history's largest empires and fostering remarkable advances in science, mathematics, medicine, and the arts. Throughout the medieval period, various local powers rose and fell across the Arabian Peninsula, with tribal confederations and regional dynasties competing for control. Ottoman influence gradually extended into parts of Arabia, particularly along the western coastal regions, while the interior remained largely autonomous under the leadership of local sheikhs and tribal leaders. The harsh desert interior of the Peninsula preserved a way of life centered around nomadic Bedouin traditions, with tribal allegiances forming the backbone of social organization. These communities developed sophisticated cultural practices adapted to desert life, including distinctive poetry, music, and art forms that celebrated their unique relationship with the challenging environment. By the 18th century, a significant religious revival movement known as Wahhabism began to take shape in the Najd region of Central Arabia, advocating for a return to the strict fundamentals of Islamic practice as understood by its founder, Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab. The story of modern Saudi Arabia begins with the crucial alliance formed between Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab and Muhammad bin Saud in 1744, which laid the foundation for what would eventually become the Saudi state. This partnership combined religious ideology with political ambition, creating a powerful force that began to unify various regions under a single authority. The first Saudi state expanded considerably before being defeated by Ottoman forces in 1818. Followed by a second attempt at state building that lasted until 1891. These early Saudi states represented important precursors to the modern kingdom, establishing patterns of governance and religious authority that would later be revived. By the late 19th century, the Al Saud family had been driven into exile in Kuwait, seemingly ending their ambitions for Arabian dominance. However, this setback would prove temporary, as a young leader named Abdul Aziz ibn Saud prepared to reclaim his family's legacy and embark on a remarkable campaign of conquest and unification. Abdul Aziz ibn Saud's daring recapture of Riyadh in 1902 marked the beginning of a three-decade campaign to unite much of the Arabian Peninsula under his leadership. With remarkable political skill, military prowess, and strategic vision, Ibn Saud gradually expanded his territory by conquering rival domains and forming alliances with Bedouin tribes. His forces captured the eastern region of Al-Hassa from Ottoman control in 1913, significantly expanding Saudi territory and resources. After World War I and the collapse of Ottoman influence in the region, Ibn Saud continued his expansion, defeating the Hashemite kingdom of Hejaz in 1925 and gaining control of the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. This acquisition dramatically increased the international significance of his growing state and provided religious legitimacy to his rule. The modern Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was officially proclaimed on September 23, 1932, creating a unified nation from previously disparate regions with diverse historical experiences and tribal affiliations. The early decades of the Saudi Kingdom were characterized by limited resources and simple administration, with the new state focusing on maintaining internal stability and defining its borders with neighboring countries. However, this situation would change dramatically with the discovery of vast oil reserves in the eastern province during the late 1930s. Commercial oil production began in 1938, but expanded significantly after World War II, launching Saudi Arabia on a remarkable trajectory of development and increasing global importance. The immense wealth generated by petroleum exports transformed the kingdom from an impoverished desert nation to a country of growing international influence and rapidly developing infrastructure. King Abdulaziz established important diplomatic relationships with major powers, particularly the United States, creating partnerships that would shape regional politics for decades to come. When Abdul Aziz died in 1953, he left behind a transformed nation poised on the edge of even more dramatic changes, as his sons would continue his legacy through the following decades of Saudi development. During the mid-20th century, Saudi Arabia experienced profound transformations under the leadership of King Saud, 1953-1964, and especially King Faisal, 1964-1975, who implemented crucial reforms that modernized the kingdom's institutions. Faisal established Saudi Arabia's first television station, introduced education for girls, and abolished slavery, all while carefully balancing traditional values with necessary developments. The 1960s and 1970s saw Saudi Arabia take a more active role in regional politics, using its growing economic power to exert influence across the Arab world. The watershed moment came during the 1973 Arab-Israeli War, when Saudi Arabia led an oil embargo against countries supporting Israel, demonstrating the kingdom's willingness to use oil as a political tool and forever changing global energy politics. This period also saw massive investments in infrastructure, healthcare, and education, with entire cities emerging from the desert as oil revenues funded ambitious development projects across the kingdom. Despite this rapid modernization, Saudi leadership maintained a strong commitment to Islamic principles and traditional governance, creating a unique developmental model that balanced change with continuity. The late 20th century brought new challenges and opportunities for Saudi Arabia, as oil price fluctuations created economic uncertainties, while regional conflicts tested the kingdom's diplomatic skills. The Iranian Revolution of 1979 established a rival Islamic power across the Persian Gulf, creating tensions that continue to shape regional politics today. That same year, Saudi authorities faced a serious internal challenge when extremists seized the Grand Mosque in Mecca, leading to a violent standoff that deeply affected Saudi security policies. During the 1980s, Saudi Arabia provided significant support to Afghan mujahideen fighting against Soviet occupation, a policy that would have unforeseen consequences in later decades. The 1990-91 Gulf War marked another pivotal moment, as foreign troops were stationed in the kingdom to defend against potential Iraqi aggression, creating domestic controversies that would fuel religious opposition movements. Through these turbulent decades, successive Saudi kings worked to maintain stability while gradually introducing limited reforms that preserved the fundamental character of Saudi governance and society. The early 21st century has witnessed Saudi Arabia facing unprecedented challenges while pursuing ambitious reforms to diversify its economy beyond oil dependence. The terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 complicated Saudi-American relations, as 15 of the 19 attackers were Saudi citizens, raising difficult questions about extremism within the kingdom. King Abdullah, 2005-2015, introduced incremental reforms, including the establishment of the country's first co-educational university and appointments of women to the Consultative Council. The Arab Spring uprisings that swept across the region in 2011 largely bypassed Saudi Arabia, though the government responded with increased social spending and limited reforms to address potential grievances. Under King Salman, and especially Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia has embarked on Vision 2030, an ambitious plan to transform the economy and modernize aspects of Saudi society. Recent years have seen significant social changes, including allowing women to drive, opening public entertainment venues, and promoting tourism, while simultaneously maintaining the monarchy's central authority and Islamic character. Today's Saudi Arabia stands at a fascinating crossroads between tradition and modernity, balancing its role as custodian of Islam's holiest sites with aspirations to become a diversified economic powerhouse. The kingdom continues to navigate complex regional challenges, including ongoing tensions with Iran, involvement in Yemen's civil war, and shifting alliances across the Middle East. Economic reforms seek to reduce dependence on oil revenues while creating new opportunities for Saudi citizens, particularly the large youth population eager for employment and greater social freedoms. Saudi Arabia's unique historical experience, from ancient trading communities to Bedouin tribal confederations, from religious revival movements to rapid oil-fueled development, continues to shape its approach to contemporary challenges. As global energy transitions accelerate and regional dynamics evolve, Saudi Arabia's ability to adapt while maintaining its distinctive cultural identity will determine its future trajectory. The story of Saudi Arabia remains unfinished, with each new chapter building upon thousands of years of fascinating history in this pivotal corner of the world.